Gavin Whelan, good morning.
Morning, Damien, how are you?
Good, yeah. You like leaving it late, don't you?
Jumping in, yeah, sure. I'm really known for my lack of time, Damien. But anyway.
Well, we won't talk about that now. You walked yourself right into that one, didn't you?
Yeah, I kind of did, yeah. Rough old morning out there.
Rough old morning. We're going to be talking to Galltir about the Camogie in a second. I think we have Anya on the line. Anya, are you on the line there?
I am indeed. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thanks. I'm wonderful. Good to talk to you. And Gavin will put on his headphones there. Anya, tell us, this is an amazing journey for Galltir Camogie, and tell us what's happening at the weekend.
Yeah, so it's an incredible journey for Camogie. We're fortunate enough to be in the intermediate All-Ireland club final this Sunday at 1:30 in Croke Park. It's a great day for Camogie and a wonderful day for our club.
You are Anya Ling, you're the captain of the Galltir Camogie team. You have a great team spirit there. I know a lot of the families involved, and you have a fabulous community, you have a fabulous group behind you, a great club, and that the band of sisters that you have working together is phenomenal. The work rate that you put in together and play for each other so well.
Yeah, like everybody knows, with their own club is family. We're very lucky with Galltir. We're a barony, so it means that we actually cover 4 communities from Passage, Ballygunner, Dunmore and Cheek Point. So we've got girls from across the barony involved. A lot of us have grown up together. A lot of us have seen the younger girls grow up. We have a phenomenal backroom team with Orla Fitzgerald leading the way with our Banish Door. We've got Gail and Catherine, Gail Sullivan and Catherine Whitty, who are former players themselves, and I was lucky enough to play with. And the experience that they bring and the enthusiasm, it's infectious. My own dad, Paul, does a good bit of the training. He's a jack of all trades. He's on the line with the hurls, with the jellies there to encourage us. And in the last few months, Andy Maloney and Colin Keogh, who's come in. Andy has done phenomenal work. He's got an enthusiasm which we're living off and feeding off. Andy did phenomenal work actually there the other night. On Wednesday, we were struggling to get a pitch, and with the support of Jacob Hire, he got lights out, got the pitch cut in Ballygunner. Again, thanks to Ballygunner for doing that. So it meant that we could train on Wednesday night. So we're fortunate. We're a barony where we've all grown up together, the players, and then our backroom team. They just feed into us and kind of bring us together as a family.
Anya, the very, very best of luck to you. It's going to be on the telly as well, which I know doesn't matter one way or the other, but it'll mean there'll be a lot of people watching it, and you'll have good support coming up from around Galltir and around the barony. So, no injury worries at present?
No, everybody's 100% fit and eager to go. And that's the more support we can get up there on the day, the better. We know Rhiners will have a big support behind them, and it really does make a difference. Having those voices encouraging you, and we're lucky again. Our families get behind us. Each player has somebody there. We've got family and friends, and we'd really encourage people to come off. It'll be a cracking game with a good day out.
It will be. Yeah, really hope you can do it, Anya. The very best of luck to you. Okay.
Super. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anya Ling. Gavin, what do you reckon?
Yeah, it's a great story, really, Damien. And listen to Anya, they're really, really focused this year. They were so close last year, just edged out by a point by Clonduff, turned the tables on Clonduff in the recent All-Ireland semi, and they'll be pretty familiar with St. Rhiners as well. Listen to Orla Murphy during the week. They beat them, obviously, in the All-Ireland semi by a 3-point margin last year, so, there's going to be nothing to choose between the teams. Obviously, the hurt from last year, that can be a huge, I suppose, motivation factor. I'm sure it's going to be mentioned to the Galltir girls in the dressing room. Very, very focused, and a very, nice blend of youth and experience in their team, from Annie Fitzgerald, like Margot Heffernan, like Anya Ling would be, even though she's still quite young, would be one of the experienced players in that team. And Ciara Jackman in the goal is really composing there as well, so right through the lines, and even bringing players off the bench as well. There's great strength and depth in the panel, and I do think if they can perform on Sunday at the wide open spaces at Croke Park,
I really think they can do it.
Annie Fitzgerald, I think I give them every chance, and if they perform on the day, and again it all comes down to the day. It could be, I know last year conditions were freezing up there.
And this looks like it's going to be a wet weekend, so again, whatever team applies itself better to
bounce of the ball, a decision, and player gets injured, maybe a decision here and there.
But no, they're right on the day. Best of luck to them.
Absolutely, echo those sentiments. Wish them all the best of luck. If they perform, they'll win it.
Big weekend for hurling.
Yeah, it certainly is. Waterford and Tipperary Sunday afternoon, Damien. Thurles, Thurles is probably going to be soft enough, but usually it will hold up, and hopefully, I don't think down here we're expecting it too bad, so hopefully all will go according to plan. Liam Cahill, of course, and Liam Sheedy, two former teammates in opposite dugouts, of course, this weekend, which is pretty unique. Waterford unbeaten, confidence high, of course, 3 out of 3, and really good display against Galway last weekend. Mightn't have been the greatest game, but winning those tight games and winning in Welsh Park, Damien, is huge for confidence, huge for morale. I think Liam might experiment again a little bit this weekend, maybe in more players to get their chances. Team is going to be released there later on. Tip of just the one win today. They bet Westmeath there after 2 defeats, but I'm sure they'll be keen to perform as well. Excuse me, in front of their home fans, and of course Waterford and Tip, meeting the first round of the championship as well. So I know you're really being primed for the 10th of May, but a good league sometimes it doesn't necessarily transfer to championship form. But I think all the boys are buying into what Liam Cahill and his new management team are about, and Sunday's another chance to go out and express that. I think Waterford usually play well in Thurles as well.
And they do, but it's a big day for Liam Cahill. It's a big day. He's going back into Tip with the team that he's been working with for the last 2 or 3 months. So it is a big day for him and for the players, and I really, really hope they perform. George Corbett is obviously helping us out with the
big match coverage. Kieran and Owen Murphy, of course, on the air from 1:45. So tune in. Of course, we'll be in constant conversation with Tomas as well up there in Croker with the Camogie. It's a big occasion for both. It's a pity they're clashing, but look, there's the calendar now. There's so much going on. It's very, very hard to, I suppose, try and get everything in as well. Wish the hurlers the very best of luck. Wish the footballers the very best of luck. I mean, they welcome Carlow, big southeast derby in Fairfield tomorrow night. Hopefully conditions they'll be better than the last night they played against Wexford. It was absolutely the rain, the driving wind and rain was unbelievable. Really delighted for Benji and the lads last weekend when that result came through from Carlow. Was because I know the work they've put in behind the scenes is absolutely second to none, and to go up there and get a win was huge for confidence. They're only 19 players, going up there. A lot of injuries at the minute. I know there's a couple of the boys from our own squad off the under-20s are gone in there, which is great to see as well. You know what I mean? Because there is a cohort of people in there who are willing to put on that football jersey, which is important. I know Benji has alluded to that, and they're putting in as much effort as any other squad, Damien, and I do hope that they get a bit of backing and a bit of support.
I think there was a young was there a young Rathgormack man got on the team of the week?
Yeah, there was Robbie Flynn. Robbie. So he'll absolutely. I know he's getting a bit of slagging on Twitter over that and all that, for sure. No, fair play to him. You know what I mean?
I really hope to do
he's
well.
Really brought into it, and they're really putting in. And if you look at it, Damien, like lost in Limerick, narrowly. Limerick are top of that division. They're unbeaten.
Yeah, no, it's all very tight. And speaking of going to Sligo this evening.
Yeah, tomorrow evening. Tomorrow night. Well, at the minute, like it is, I'm in constant conversation there with Niall and Waterford FC, and they're just waiting on a response to the FAI, because obviously there is an orange weather alert for wind and rain
up the northwest
tomorrow. So based on travel and that, we're hoping a decision can be made maybe before we get going ourselves tomorrow. In fact, the team, I'm not sure whether they're going up tonight or what the plan is there, but I know the footballers were up there last weekend and it was pretty similar, but they had gone up the night before. So I just hope these decisions
Clem Jacob
are made.
Is sponsoring
thanks to Clem Jacob Hire. So I know Matt he's landed back from Portaventura and he is ready to rock for Sligo tomorrow night. So we'll be bringing you that game live, weather permitting, obviously.
I wouldn't say they'd be testing Matt for coronavirus. I'd say any virus was killed with the bubbles.
Exactly, yeah. But looking forward to that. They've had a difficult start, a good win against St. Pat's. Rovers and Bows just kind of packed too much for them, but they're really working hard behind the scenes. I was listening to Rennie there during the week, and you know what I mean. So Sligo's a game you'd probably target, but again, if the conditions are like that, it's a kind of a game. It can be a lottery as well. So anything as well. And again, if any clubs have any postponements, because I know there is a good deal of local GA fixtures and soccer fixtures on the weekend. Again, anything that comes through, let us know. We'll give the details.
Yeah, as far as we understand, the football schoolboy soccer is on at the present, unless we hear any differently, and we haven't heard anything more about the junior league, and then as you say, the GA as well. Anything else you want to give a quick mention to?
Yeah, I think that's basically it. Damien, we'll have Tomas' an extensive Lorna Porca tonight, build up to the Camogie final as well. We'll have Andy Maloney in studio tomorrow. Of course, he former hurler with Waterford and Tipperary, and as Anya mentioned there, he's in coaching them with the Galltir Camogie team as well. We'll have Frankie Ryan as well, Waterford senior football selector, is going to drop in as well tomorrow to talk about their chances against Carlow tomorrow night, racing up Mark Phillips. I know there's 2 big Cheltenham preview nights as well tonight down there in Revolution Bar, and there's also one in the Uluru as well. I know Matt is emceeing the one down in Revolution with our own Mark Phillips, so that's kicking off at 7:30 tonight. €10 their tickets on the door. So I know there's a bit of doubt now whether Cheltenham will even go ahead, but I hopefully a lot of people, I'm sure, have tickets booked, so hopefully you'll get the all clear, Damien.
Gavin Whelan, thank you very much.
Pleasure,
if you're going to Sligo, mind yourself on the roads.
I will. Thanks a million.
Next we're going to talk about love. Now keep your texts and your comments coming in. Hi Damien, I hope you will give the same coverage to International Men's Day. It never gets the same level of coverage to International Women's Day. Well, I presume that's a man that sent that in. The number's on the screen. I'm not going to ring you, but if you want to talk to that International Men's Day, you most certainly can. But we do promote International Women's Day, and the reason it was created is because women are still treated as second-class citizens in this country, mister. So you'd want to get your facts and figures right. And we do celebrate International Women's Day because it's very, very important, because women are still economically disadvantaged in this country. The Me Too movement showed that women are still getting abused by a lot of men. But certainly, if you want to talk about International Men's Day, certainly come on at the time and we will talk about it. Stage Mad Theatre Company, due to unforeseen circumstances, Jetty Stars cancelled at the Town Hall Dungarvan this Saturday, but going ahead in Lawler's Hotel. Good morning, Damien. Could you please give a shout out to our Full Monty musical, directed by David Hennessy, starts 12th of March in the beautiful Theatre Royal. The show is not to be missed. Thanks again from Trevor Prendergast. Keep your texts and your comments coming in, 083 33 975. Now I want to know about the slow set. Do you remember the old slow set? And did you find your love on a slow set disco? Let us know, please, because I'm going to talk now to Bernadette Ryan, our relationship counsellor expert. Bernadette, good morning.
Good morning, Damien.
How are you today?
I'm very well. It's Friday and another storm is coming in, so...
Yeah, you're living in Dublin. What's your feeling about this coronavirus, just before we talk about relationships? Are you a little bit worried, or what do you think about it?
Well, I suppose it's getting a bit worrying, isn't it? It's kind of trying to balance out between sort of the drama that might be being created around it, and sort of just, I don't know.
Getting on with life.
It really is something very confusing. I think nobody really knows. I suppose it got a little bit, close to home when they cancelled the rugby and all that sort of thing, So
yeah.
I don't know. What's your feeling?
Again, the same thing. It's hard to know what to feel. What to feel. Talking about feelings, do you know your love language? Oh, for some people it's taking out the bins or giving great hugs. What is the language of love, Bernadette?
The language of love. Well, there's this guy Chapman wrote about the language of love, and he says it's there's 5 kind of languages: words of affirmation, quality time, being with your partner, and acknowledging that, acts of service, physical touch, so, and each of us have a primary love language. Now, the problem around it is really that most of us probably don't even know what our own love language is, what harm our partners, We kind of pick up these from within our family of origin. What was the love language, if you want to call it that? I think that kind of jars a wee bit with Irish people. But, what were the signs of affection at home? Were you a touchy-feely family? Were there hugs? Were there kisses? Did people express how they felt? And in many instances, that wouldn't have been people's experience. So,
yes. Why was that, Bernadette? Was it just a case of people had to go out and do a bit of work and get on with it, and we lived in a very, very different type of society? And yet there were other people talk about how their parents were very loving in terms of hugs and stuff like that when they were growing up.
Yes, I think, sort of, perhaps, maybe a generation or so back, people were kind of a bit embarrassed about displaying affections of love. So while they might have, deeply loved somebody, they didn't publicly display that. It was kind of a bit of a taboo, Now that has changed, thankfully. But equally, I just feel, perhaps the influence from, particularly maybe American, we're influenced by TV in ways that we don't know, I was recently just running a workshop, and I used a clip from, I don't know if you recall, the Brady Bunch.
I do.
We were talking about step families, and that kind of image of the perfect that was put out there, and people absorb these ideas from TV, and today as well, like it's kind of gone the other way. We're witnessing people's sort of most intimate moments of their relationships in reality TV and all of that sort of thing. So we absorb the messages, and they change over time. So I think Irish people have become more comfortable with displaying affection and communicating affection to their partners, but it's still a difficulty. I mean, in the article that we were looking at, it says who takes out the bins. And quite often when I have a very unhappy couple in front of me, and, the woman is normally, women usually take care of the relationship, not exclusively, so I'm not saying that men don't, but generally, and the guy is sitting there saying, of course I love her, and she's there saying, but you never show me, and sometimes when I break it down, and it will turn out that he takes out the bins, he makes sure there's oil in the car, he does all those kind of masculine type related things around the house that maybe go unnoticed, So it's really
and when you say a woman normally, again, this is just generalising, takes care of the relationship. What do you mean by that?
Well, and again, generally, I really, and I never like to pigeonhole anybody, but generally speaking, women think about the relationship a lot. It's on their mind, as it were. And, they say, oh gosh, no, he didn't do that or didn't do whatever. And, whereas the man is kind of, men tend, and I do not mean this in any disparaging way at all, because I think it's just as valid. Once there's nothing, upsetting the boat, as it were, they tend to think everything is fine. So quite often I can have a couple in front of me where the woman has their suitcase practically packed and the guy's going, what's wrong?
The men just he paddles along sort of, or 'tis grand.
Yeah, exactly. And they think about other things, sort of men tend to worry about finance and tend to worry about, those are the things that occupy them. But women tend to be relational and they look after relationships. You can see it even, I think, in friendships between women and between men. The difference,
and what happens if it turns the other way? What happens if you have a complete reversal of that?
And you can have that, absolutely, yeah. And that is an interesting one. And I suppose at the end of the day, too, Damien, it's kind of like, how these people, are they a good match for each other, sort of thing. I think women sometimes, I hope I won't get slated for this, but even though we say we want men who are in touch with their feminine side and relational, sometimes they can be quite uncomfortable with that, So
yes.
It again depends. But I think it comes down to, really, at the end of the day, I think we can get very confused around love languages and what's my love language and, oh, mother of God, have I to learn something else? I think it's about presence. I think it's about being present to your partner. And it's the small things, the small gestures, For example, like physical touch doesn't always have to be about sex. In fact, for many people, it is about the intimacy of their partner being present to them. A light touch, watching TV, holding hands. No, I don't mean even holding hands.
Could be a foot massage. Could be a foot massage.
Exactly, just that, something that indicates that closeness, and particularly in this day and age, because, especially for young couples, they're on long commutes, they're picking up children from creches. By the time they leave early in the morning, by the time they get home in the evening, they're both exhausted. They have to turn around and, pay attention to their children. So the relationship can go totally on the back burner.
Did you ever watch Pulp Fiction, the Tarantino movie?
Yes.
Do you remember the foot massage episode in that?
Indeed.
Yeah. If you heard that your partner had given somebody a foot massage, would you be a little bit worried?
Well, the fact that I didn't get one, yes.
Depends what type of feet you have as well. Some people have extremely ugly feet.
There's a tip for men. Most women love foot massage.
One final thing on the language of love. Slow sets used to be a way of meeting people at discos. The slow sets are gone. I was talking to a DJ here recently, and the slow sets are gone. Like it's difficult for people to actually say, well, how are you going to meet somebody now? Sometimes, is it?
Yeah. Well, I think the way young people meet each other has changed hugely. Particularly with all of the sort of online dating apps, and there's sort of texting communication before they even meet. So, and also that sort of, it's interesting because even the way you say slow set, I think it's reflective of back then, relationships were given the space to slowly develop, whereas now it seems to be all instant. And, I come up time and again, there isn't that sense of, we need to get to know each other here. Let's see if we really like each other. And particularly before we get intimate with each other and get sexually intimate, there isn't the space for that. Now, again, every generation has its own way, and young people are well equipped for that. But I do wonder, especially, again, women tend to need relationship for good sex. Men tend to relate through sex. So I think that kind of let's get to the sexual quickly bit possibly suits men more than it does women, Yeah. So I just think
that's a whole different topic. We might talk about that next time.
Yes.
Do you think how long? If you're talking to a young, let's say an 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old boy or girl, a young man or woman, how long, if they said to you, Bernadette, what's your general advice is if I meet somebody, how long should I wait before I have sex with them?
Oh, yeah. Well, my immediate answer would be when you feel ready. Not you, when both of you feel ready, not because you think you should on the third date, which I think it tends to be thrown about there,
All right, third date is kind of... Third date,
yeah.
Okay.
Which probably feels very strange to you and I, Damien, but then maybe that's because we're of a different generation. But, again, I don't think those feelings of wanting to belong and, when people are genuinely looking for a relationship with somebody, people might just be looking for a good night, and that's fine. That's fine if both people are okay with that. But I think the messages have got confused, and I think, young people are doing what they should do because that's what everyone else is doing and that's cool, as opposed to having the time to think, is this what I really want with this person? And I have to say, I would have a concern for young women because I think they might be pushing themselves into situations that they're not actually ready for, that they're not, emotionally and psychologically ready for, but everyone's doing it, so I should be this, kind of. This is what I mean. Sometimes we, when we break the taboos, we go sometimes too far in the other direction, and maybe it's time, to come back into a bit of balance and a bit of a middle ground there.
I think we have our topic for our next chat. Listen, Bernadette, it's so good talking to you again. Thanks very much,
Damien.
Bernadette Ryan. Thank you very much. Thanks very much, Bernadette. Damien, I started my early teenage years dancing to slow sets in the rugby club disco at Parnell Street. Next year I'll be getting married. Both my fiancé and I are insisting on having a good slow set on the night. Damien, I met my partner at a country music social dance nearly 3 years ago. We got married last July. Damien, well said to that mister on his comment regarding International Men's Day. Well done. Hooray to you, Damien. Another person, well done for putting that man back in his box, said this other texter. Now, in a minute, we'll be talking about U2 playing at Wit 40 years ago. And also they played at Showboat just after that. Were you at either of those two gigs? Let us know. 083 333 975. We had a caller to 051 846 123. Says the lady who travelled to the north from Dublin Airport went straight to her doctor, presumably with coronavirus symptoms. Wasn't that a bit reckless? I think she phoned the doctor first. I'm not sure if she then went. Next, we want to talk about rare diseases. Now, welcome back. Damien, a lot of politicians have been out supporting the cleaners this morning. David Cullinane and John Hearn were there this morning. I know some other politicians were out recently as well. Damien, regarding some of the issues on the coronavirus, what about the cabin crew that are on the flight? How many flights have they been on since? Excuse me. Damien, I don't see why Ireland are not considering using military bases as quarantine areas similar to other countries. It would help stop the spread of people travelling to and from infected areas. The government should think about it before they act. And now we're going to talk about a separate matter, rare diseases. Avril Keenan, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. You're CEO of the Health Research Charities in Ireland, a member of the Rare Diseases Task Force. There's a new easy guide that you're launching on rare diseases. It's been launched tomorrow on the Leap Day. Can you tell me, please, what constitutes a rare disease and how many people in Ireland are living with a rare disease?
So a rare disease affects 1 in 2,000 people or fewer than that. And in Ireland, that equates to about 300,000 individuals. So to make that real, that's something like the size of the populations in the counties of Cork and Galway combined. So the word rare implies that, it's not something that you would encounter, but when you take all the 6,000 to 8,000 rare diseases as a whole, everybody knows somebody with a rare disease. And tomorrow is the rarest day, the Leap Day, to celebrate rare diseases.
Yeah. Can you give me a few names of rare diseases, please? A lot of people may not know them, but some might.
Yeah, so one a rare disease that pretty much everybody has heard of is cystic fibrosis, because that is a little bit more common in Ireland, and we talk about it in Ireland a lot. But there are other conditions, like one called EB. Sometimes people know the children affected by that as the butterfly children, where they have this very, very rare skin condition where the layers of the skin are not attached to each other properly. Then there's ones like forms of blindness, one in particular called retinitis pigmentosa, or P, where the cells in the retina gradually die off, and because we can't renew the cells in our retina, that leads to progressive blindness. And then there's thousands more like that.
Wow, yeah. Affecting fewer than 5 in every 10,000 people, and that's the reason that they are rare diseases. And yet the difficulties with dealing with a rare disease is very difficult, isn't it, Avril? Because so many other ailments and conditions get support in terms of research, whereas you're talking about a smaller group of people and cohort.
That's it, exactly. And that's one of the reasons we want to really raise awareness of what it's like to live with a rare disease and how we need to do better with how we manage rare diseases. Because the first thing that many families encounter when perhaps a new baby is born is that they can see that there are symptoms and they know there's something that's different. But it can take an average of 7 years to get a diagnosis. And so some people will get luckier and they'll have a diagnosis sooner, and that's of course devastating news. And other people go through years and years of being passed around from consultant to consultant to try and figure out what the problem is stemming from. And only when you really understand what you're dealing with can you even start to think about treatment or therapies for the condition. Then most families unfortunately hit another problem in that for most rare diseases, there's nothing even like a cure available. There's just simply not enough research done into these conditions at the moment, although we're getting better. And then there's a lack of medical knowledge and expertise as well often. And again, if you're lucky, you might find a centre of expertise in Ireland where there is some clinician consultant who has decided that they have an interest in this area and they will push forward better care, but that's not always the case. And then finally, on top of all that, there can be a social isolation associated with a rare disease where you find yourself explaining over and over again what this thing you have is, and people presume it's something else, and you maybe even get told by medical professionals that no, that's not what you have something else. And so there's this repetitive explaining and a feeling of isolation that can come with it all as well.
And I know people can find out more by typing in Rare Disease Task Force. I just Googled it there a while ago, and that's one way of finding out. Is there any other simple way of accessing information, Avril?
Yeah, so a couple of things to mention. You can go to the Rare Disease Ireland website, so you'll find a lot more information on rare diseases there. That's rdi.ie, and that's particularly a patient-focused organisation and bringing together patients and patient organisations. So if you maybe get in touch with Rare Diseases Ireland, that's a great starting point where you learn about events in the future and maybe get to connect with other people. And there is also a rare disease office in the HSE. And that's very good for very practical information on where can I find expertise, what research is happening, is there a patient organisation in my disease, my condition area. So those are two really good starting places.
Avril, thanks very much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Not at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Avril Keenan there, CEO of the Health Research Charities in Ireland, member of the Rare Disease Task Force. If you have a rare disease, if your family member has a rare disease, we'd like to hear from you. Maybe next week if you want to give us a shout, a text, an email Deise today at WLRFM.com, because it's important to hear from people affected, I suppose, directly by such diseases. Damien, there's some people that still have posters up, politicians with posters up. There's one here on the Greenway car park. Poster of Eddie Mulligan. It's actually lying halfway down. A picture's been sent in. It's not really up, it's down. Some people could say that could be a political adage, but if Eddie's there listening, you'd want to get it removed, as they say, Eddie. Eileen has texted in, Damien, we will get through the coronavirus. We got through the foot and mouth and the swine disease, but I can't believe how many people do not wash their hands after being to the toilet. Damien, It's reckoned that 20,000 people die each day across the planet from starvation. Yet there's no worldwide mobilisation to end these avoidable deaths. Is it because the rich never die of starvation? Damien, what about smoking? Smoking kills thousands and thousands of people. Should this not be something that we should be more concerned about? Another person saying that we're getting too excited about this coronavirus lark. Keep your texts and your comments coming in, please. We also want to know about your favourite U2 song. And were you at one of those famous concerts all of 40 years ago? Makes you feel old now, doesn't it? Now, in a minute, I'm going to be talking to Chlorine Jackman and to Seamus Ryan. Firstly, a quick mention, Samantha Murray, happy birthday to Daniel. It's going to be 12 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Daniel. Happy Leap Day birthday. Chlorine, good morning.
Good morning, Damien. How are you? I'm
wonderful, thank you. How are you? Are you staying out of the rain, you are?
I'm well in out of the rain.
Tell me, it's hard to believe.
I'm driving around in the rain.
Okay. It's hard to believe it's 40 years ago, isn't it?
Oh, don't remind me.
Remind us, please. Were you at the WRTC, the old WIT concert?
Or at Technical College at the time.
And tell us, how excited was it? Explain it and describe the buzz to us, please.
Okay, well, I had never heard of them until my friend asked me would I go with her to the Regional and Technical College at the time. And I said, okay, and she said, this band is fantastic, they're from Dublin. So I didn't know what to expect, Damien. So we went in and we got close to the stage, but when the band came out, oh Lord, the crowd went into a frenzy. And the sound was fantastic. It was just something I'd never heard before.
Amazing.
We were pushed up onto the stage. Oh, it was fantastic. And Bono's voice, of course, was brilliant.
And I'm going to be talking to Seamus Ryan in a second. I think he's on the other line. I'll come to you now in a minute, Seamus. Chlorine, tell me, what did you do? Did you get a little bit excited?
We got very excited. But what happened, we were pushed eventually up against the stage, and Bono was putting his hand down to shake hands with everybody, and the crowd just tore his shirt off him. And there it was sitting on the stage in front of me. So I said, well, I'm going to have this. So I took it, but the roadie dragged me up out of the crowd and tried to take the shirt back from me. So Bono stopped the music, told me to keep the shirt, and brought Paula, my friend, up from the crowd as well, brought us out to have tea with them. They weren't drinking or anything during the break. They had tea and minerals and stuff. We were very impressed. So they weren't lunatics anyway. But they had, and we came back on the stage and they wanted us to stay behind them on the stage and dance. We were dancing on the stage beside them.
Oh, that is brilliant. And do you still have the shirt?
I still have the shirt, yeah.
What type of a shirt is it?
It was like, it's a two-tone, maroon and like a turquoise two-tone shirt. And I don't have the sleeves. My friend Paula has one sleeve and somebody else must have got another sleeve, but I still have the body of the shirt.
And did you ever wash it?
No.
Oh, stop.
Of course not.
Ah, the sweat. No, the sweat on it.
Tears are still in.
And did you go home smelling the shirt? Did you? Did you sleep with the shirt?
I did. Yeah, until I got sent.
Seamus Ryan, good morning.
Good morning, Damien.
Seamus, there you are now, a sweaty shirt, 40 years old, never been washed.
I can definitely say that I don't have any sweaty shirts that belong to Bono or any other
article of his clothing. No,
but I do remember the evening well, the concert. It was held in the canteen in WRTC as it was at the time. And of course, that canteen is still there today. But and I was only looking around the other day and just saying to myself, how did U2 actually play here? But I remember the night, a lot of energy in the room. I remember well. But I also was at the gig in the Showboat. I think could have been a couple of months later.
Yeah, 2 weeks later, I think it said there was only 200 at that. There was 400.
Well, I was one of the 200. You knew at the time, Damien, that this group were going to be big. You wouldn't no way would you have realised how big they were going to be. But you knew they were going places. They were different. They were new. There was a complete energy coming from them. You know, it was great times.
Yeah, Frankie.
I would have been 18 at the time.
Frankie McAvoy texted me as well. His band Simon were on the same poster as you two when they played in the Showboat. Yeah. Do you remember them, Frank? Do you remember them, Seamus? Yeah.
Of course, yes, indeed, yeah.
And
a lot of students there. You know, it was the students. If memory serves me, I think it was a students' union gig at the time. So obviously there was a lot of students there. I was 18, and I went with a couple of friends of mine. And we had a great night indeed, yeah.
And you, and
I would be a U2 fan since, but you know, that was my introduction to them. That and the gig down the Showboat, because the Showboat used every Wednesday night. The Showboat used to run a gig. Kind of a rock group would come, and I saw many groups there. I remember seeing Stiff Little Fingers, Stagger Lee, Step Aside, all of these, the Bogey Brothers, I think they were. And, you know, so we had great times there every Wednesday night.
And Owen O'Neill...
I remember going one Wednesday night, and I had the price to get in, and the price of one drink, and I sat there nursing the drink for the night while the concert was on.
Like Owen O'Neill, as a lot of people would know, was involved in trade union politics over the years, a Waterford man, and he was head of the college, and he was the person that got them into the students' union for that night, Chlorine, and the gig sold out. There was 400 at it, and basically it was so small, as you say, they used to use the tables as a stage. There must have been some energy there, Chlorine, was there?
It was just fantastic. I'd never known anything like it before. I would have been the same age now, around 18, 19 at the time. And it was so new to have a band like that in Waterford. You know, at the time there was nothing like that. So it was fantastic. I really, I'll never forget it. It's probably my first experience of that sort of music. And I've loved U2 ever since. I went to see them in Cork as well. I went to a few places after that. I loved their first album.
Yeah, and I'm going to play a little bit from Boy now in a second, because I was a big U2 fan myself. When the shirt was being ripped off Bono, were you part of this posse that ripped off his shirt, Chlorine?
I wasn't, Damien, because I couldn't get
now,
near.
come on.
I actually no. I'll tell the truth, but I did recognise that they were going to be big, and that is why I had to nearly crawl onto the stage to grab the shirt.
Right.
But
and what did he wear then? Did he put something else on, or had he a T-shirt on underneath, or was he going half naked then for the rest of the night?
I think he was half naked for the rest of the night. He wasn't getting the shirt back. It wasn't in any state to put back on him anyway. So.
And when you were having the cup of tea with him out the back, he was sitting there with his torso, was he?
Yeah, he was just talking to us all. Like they were just nice guys, you know. They
weren't big-headed or anything. Nice lads.
Not a bit. They were just nice and asked us how we probably thought of the music, and just they were just nice to us, you know. Offered us tea or whatever, minerals and that.
And were they sexy?
Oh, of course.
I'll leave her answer that, Jamie.
That was addressed to you, Seamus. Now that wasn't addressed to Chlorine. Seamus.
But I do agree.
Go on.
I do agree, Damien, that that night you knew this band were going somewhere. They were that good. They were that different and that unique. You know, you knew they were going somewhere, but of course none of us would have been able to say how big they were going to get. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and would you have felt that as well? As you say, there wouldn't have been too many gigs, Chlorine, in Waterford at the time. Somebody has texted in the Human League played in Breens around 1981. What a great buzz that is. Yeah. That's in from Frank. Yeah. But just the fact of having a band there and 400 students and a mixture of students and non-students just cramming into that the canteen.
I think it was the venue as well, because it was, the students and all. I think the venue was important for that gig as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Just had a text in from somebody there. My husband worked in the WRTC, as it was then, the Regional Technical College, and he helped set up the canteen tables for the stage. So it was actually they were standing on the tables. Like, talk about health and safety, Seamus. Like, this is just mad, isn't it?
Not at all. You wouldn't get away with it these days, Damien. But
no.
that was something special about it, though. You know, it was. As I keep saying, using the term kind of unique, and it was a unique gig, I felt at the time, and it was something special for Waterford. And I was delighted, even looking back on it, and tell my own children about it, that I was there, and they said to me, "Will you go away? You're telling us you two sit in the canteen? No way will they believe it."
Seamus, have you got a favourite U2 song, Seamus?
I do, but it wouldn't have been out at that time. But Pride would be one of mine.
Sure, they've so many, and you look at the collection of U2 songs and the greatest hits, it's phenomenal. Yeah. Chlorine, have you got any favourite or?
Well, I like One Love. I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Super.
Something from the first album would be lovely.
Yeah, I'm going to play a song there now in a second. Listen, Chlorine, I can't believe you still have the shirt. Where is it in the house?
Yes, it's in the hot press. Because I want it to stay dry, I don't want it to get.
Has it fallen? There must be an all fierce stink off it after 40 years of Bono sweat. Go on. Are you married, Jar?
No, I'm not.
I'm just saying, if there was a partner there, he'd be wondering, will I wear this shirt now? Imagine if you saw somebody else wearing that shirt. So it's still in the hot press after 40 years. Listen, will you text us in a picture of the shirt later?
I will.
Yeah, and we'll put it up on YouTube and say, Bono sweaty shirt 40 years on.
Yeah.
Listen, Chlorine Jackman, thanks so much for joining us. And Seamus Ryan, thanks so much for joining us.
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it, folks.
Thank you, Damien.
And to all the U2 fans out there, we are going to play this song specially for them. I want to say thank you very much to Julie for producing. Jeff is up next. Thanks to everybody for texting in and all your comments during the week, and especially today. We are at the Business Awards tonight. Good luck to everybody in the Business Awards tonight.